We've ranked the most devastating punches in boxing: jab, cross, hook, uppercut, and more, on an S to D tier list. Discover which punch is scientifically tier S and why. 1. Straight right-left cross, the straight. Let's start our ranking with a strike that is the backbone of any knockout, the straight, or, as it is commonly called, the cross. We have classified it as tier A. Why tier A? Simply because this is the fastest and longest punch in the entire arsenal. It travels in a straight line, allowing the fighter to transfer the maximum amount of weight and speed into a tiny point of contact, the nose, the forehead, or the chin. It is true that it lacks that massive rotational force of a hook, but the clean acceleration and straight-line precision it offers are a guarantee that it is responsible for the vast majority of technical KOs we see. It is the classic of boxing, the strike that never fails. 2. Overhand, the overhand punch. Moving on to our second analysis, we have a weapon that seems incredibly powerful, but deep down has significant flaws. I'm talking about the overhand. We ranked it as tier C. Why tier C? The overhand is essentially a cross that draws a wider arc, designed to land over the opponent's guard. It is indeed powerful and highly surprising, especially useful against taller fighters. But it is terribly inefficient in terms of energy. It consumes a huge amount of force. And the main problem is that if you miss the distance or timing of this strike, you become a completely open target. It is an all-or-nothing punch, and because of that risk and inefficiency, it simply cannot compete with the strikes in the higher tiers. 3. Jab, the piston. We now arrive at a controversial ranking, and I know some of you are going to hate me, but the jab, which we call the piston, is our tier D. Why tier D? It is crucial to understand. The jab is, without a doubt, the most important punch in boxing, the foundation of everything. It is the scoring tool, the GPS to measure distance, the annoyance that keeps the opponent alert and momentarily blind. It sets up the knockout. But it was not made to execute the knockout. Yes, there are legends like Larry Holmes and, of course, Sonny Liston, who possessed jabs so heavy they were KOs in themselves. They are the exception. As a general rule, the jab does not have the total body weight or hip rotation necessary to turn out the lights. Its mission is to win rounds, not to end the fight. It is the key to victory, but rarely for the final KO. 4. Body shot, liver shot. Let's analyze the strike that causes more pain than loss of consciousness, the body shot, specifically the one aiming for the liver. We placed it in tier B. Why tier B? The liver shot is not a cerebral knockout, it is a system failure. A successful strike, hitting the solar plexus or the liver, causes immediate and excruciating pain that simply cuts off the breath and paralyzes the body. This happens because the liver is a large organ with many nerve endings. The impact compresses the organ and affects the vagus nerve, dropping the fighter. He falls to his knees, often not because he lost consciousness, but because his body refuses to continue. It is a slower and riskier punch to execute, requiring you to duck and enter the opponent's guard. But the knockout it delivers is definitive and absolutely devastating, as the recovery is slow and painful. 5. Uppercut, the upward hook. Returning to the top of our list, back to tier A, we have the strike no one expects when the fight is tight, the punch that comes from the bottom up, the uppercut. Why tier A? The uppercut is the ultimate weapon at close range, in what we call infighting. It has a perfect vertical trajectory, coming under the guard, designed to hit the chin and nose, lifting the opponent's head. By lifting the head, it forces the neck to absorb all the impact from the base, causing the famous head whiplash that leads to the knockout. It is ideal for breaking the posture of an opponent who leans forward or tries to protect themselves with a very tight guard. When connected, it is violent and almost always leads to a mandatory count or the end of the fight. 6. Counter hook, the check hook, counter hook. And finally, we reach the apex. The most devastating punch in all of boxing, the holy grail of the knockout, the counter hook, deservedly ranked as our tier S. Why tier S? It holds the highest knockout potential of all the strikes analyzed. The physics behind it is what makes it lethal. When you land the hook, aiming for the side of the chin, at the exact moment your opponent is rushing in, you aren't just applying the force of your fist. You are summing two forces, the force of your rotation plus the momentum, speed, and weight of your opponent coming towards you. The result is maximum rotational force applied to the most vulnerable point. It is perfect timing, the combination of technique and kinematics that shuts off the brain
instantly, resulting in the cleanest, most dramatic, and undeniably the hardest knockout to master. And there it is. The counterhook is the undisputed king of KOs by summing opposing forces, while the jab is the foundation. Boxing is technique and intelligence. Which of these punches would you master? Now that you know the science of the knockout, do your part. If you enjoyed this tactical analysis, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel for more content, and comment which punch you think should have moved up or down in our SD ranking. Your opinion is our next round. Until next time, and keep your guard up.